doing here today and why we're doing this. Dr. Landry and I got together maybe 2-3 years ago and decided to try to play that piece, I think. That was the first one we did? Yeah. Because I joined the commission on this and then we had the music in hand, and I was like, okay, great, let's try playing this, see what this is like. And it kind of developed into this idea of like, oh, there's a lot of trombone and percussion music out here, and this is kind of a fun duo. Let's try to make something happen out of this. And we've been able to support this through a few different things, and I think it's worth explaining that as well. Part of what we've done is we've been able to pair with the Louisiana Trombone Collective, which is a nonprofit that I started a couple years ago. And we've been able to fundraise money and also apply for external grants to get funding for projects like this. So the commission group on that piece, also the Catherine Bergman piece that we're going to play a little bit was part of that. We were able to fund the commission of that through the LTC. And you can get more information about what we're doing with the LTC on the back of your program. You can find out what some of our goals are and how this might help not only the trombones in the Acadiana region, but also the percussion.
It's a collective.
It's a collective.
And we do call ourselves Slide&Strike. The joke is it could be Slide&Strike or it could be Slide&Strike. It just really depends on what piece we're watching and we're playing. This next piece is actually something that Dr. Yates here brought to me I think it's a friend of his who did an arrangement of pieces of Strauss. And you don't play a lot of Strauss on vibraphone these days, so it's a good opportunity to try something a little bit new and different with a beautiful piece. This is Morgan, and hope you enjoy. Recital with a percussionist, it's pretty much just a series of this statement. And now for something completely different. It's okay, you can laugh. So this next piece of music I'm going to play for you, Benjamin and I had talked a little bit about what we wanted to do in this recital, and obviously we have a handful of pieces that we've been playing that we enjoy. But we also wanted to do something kind of our own. And when he said, hey, why don't you do something on your own, this was the very first thing I thought about doing. Not a lot of people know this piece. This is actually from a collection of pieces called The Noble Snare. Eugene Novotny's name is a little bit more aware amongst percussionists, and obviously trombonists, I expect you know who Eugene Novotny is. Also a joke, we're working it's a little rough today. But anyway, this is a really cool piece of music, and a lot of the pieces in this volume of snare studies, which I think there's now 5, kind of revolve around different types of sounds. So you're going to see me do a lot of different things. You're going to see me strike the drum with a snare mallet. You're going to see me strike it with a brush. You're going to see me strike it with a stick, both cross stick and And then in a really nice moment, we're going to kind of pattern something with the actual snare cuts themselves, where I use the throw switch on the snare drum to control and manipulate the guts underneath the snare drum, which is kind of cool. I'm not going to do it for you because that would be, spoiler alert. And I want you to experience this as I play it. So this is Eugene Novotny's A Minute of News. It is not exactly a minute, it's a little more than a minute. So if you're keeping time, I apologize as this.
We're gonna play this piece that I kind of alluded to at the beginning. This is called Fool's Fire. It's by Catherine Bergman. Catherine Bergman is a composer based out of Minneapolis, and she does quite a bit of band compositions. She's done a couple other things. She does some chamber music. Her big thing is that she wants to try to expose audiences to the natural world through music. And so when I called her up and said, "Hey, do you want to do this? We've got funding." That's always the big key. We've got funding. She said, "Yeah, I really want to do this. I want to write it about Louisiana." And I'm like, "Okay, sounds good. What about Louisiana?" She's like, "I really want to write it about the marshes and the swamps." And I'm going, "Okay, cool. This is going to be about gators and gator hunting or something." So anyway, she had to be down in New Orleans for a conference, and she called me and said, "Hey, I'm going to go do some stuff. I'm going to go check out some of the Cajun stuff and check out South Louisiana. I'll let you know what comes out of this." And she developed this idea of this piece called Fool's Fire. And in Cajun French, this would be faux follet. Don't butcher me, don't get me for butchery. Okay. And it's this concept of, it's kind of this explanation for kind of some of these shimmering lights that can be seen in the swamps. And this is kind of the side effect of gases that are being released from underneath the water. There's various gases that can hit the sunlight as the sun's setting that kind of make it look like there's these orbs of shimmering light going through the swamp. And Cajun folklore kind of explain this as the souls of unbaptized children that are wandering around earth and aren't allowed to heaven, which is sad. But these souls are also kind of mischievous, right? And so they kind of lead you into the swamp, and you try to follow them and try to figure out where they are, and they lead you deeper and deeper until you're lost. The sharp edges.
Yeah, I actually put tape on these because I have tape on them before, so pretty fun.
We're trying to hurt people around here. This next work was originally kind of arranged and written for me by a graduate student of ours, Kevin Hilden, about 3 years ago. It's a fantasy based on the tune "Who Puts His Trust in God His Just." And you need a little bit of history to understand why we might program this and why I might have done this. My undergraduate band director, Frederick Knightley, was really impactful on who I am and how I teach, in the good ways and the bad ways, probably. But he passed away about 4 years ago, and one of the ways that he liked to close band concerts was we always played Stars and Stripes Forever. We always played it at like 160, way too fast, and it was crazy. And then we played this hymn, and there's a great wind band arrangement of this hymn. And he always made us sing, which was great for my singing abilities. He taught me to sing. So I wanted to compose, or I wanted to play something in honor of Mr. Knightley, and have something to kind of remember him by. So that's how I ended up with this from Kevin, and we've added, over the years I've kind of added a couple different things, so Brett's going to do a couple of interesting things to kind of add and contribute to this. I hope, this is kind of it's a fantasy, it's meant to be kind of a remembrance. I hope you can kind of pick up on some of the jokes and the inside jokes that maybe come out of Mr. Knightley's personality. He could be brutally honest, like in a good way and a bad way, right? So when things really went poorly, he would just say, well, that sucked. He always had a strong sense of pedagogy, of wanting to help students actually learn how to do something better. But sometimes those strong ideas came across in incredibly blunt ways. So hopefully that comes across in what we're doing here with this fantasy. And now we'll use this thing that's been sitting here.
This window dressing.
Yeah.
And boy, will we use it.
Yeah. I was going to mention, this is pretty cool to watch, so make sure your eyes are open.
Now you had to tell them to look at you.
Well, I mean, I might get distracted. I found this piece by Miles Wright. It was already commissioned. It already worked out by the time I found it. But Miles Wright is a percussionist, and he writes for the trombone in a really unique way. He's interested not only in the melodic harmonic content, but he's also really interested in the way the trombone can be articulated. And so you'll notice that there's some different things that I do to kind of try to emulate some of the articulations that are happening on the marimba, which is pretty fun. I also think it's interesting to note that Miles Wright is an Australian composer, but he's really influenced by blues, American blues, especially like Kansas City blues. And so there's a few places in here, it's not all the way through, but there's a few places where you're really going to hear some blues influence that's pretty interesting as well.
You'll probably see my facial expressions change at that point. General like, hey, this sounds really cool, kind of. But, and it is. I think it's interesting because usually when you find a piece of music, when we're talking percussionist and other instrument, typically a percussionist writing a piece of music wants to favor this instrument or wants to favor those collections of instruments. But I really like the way the trombone is scored throughout the entirety of this piece, and I think he does a really cool job of kind of playing off of what I do, and then at times I play off of what he does. And sometimes I am the harmonic rhythm, and sometimes he's the harmonic rhythm. So it's a really cool piece. It is pair up. It's one of the names that we thought about making our little duo, and it shows Slide&Strike. I like Slide&Strike there. Nice choice. And again, thank you all for coming out tonight. You're looking at your watch, what's going on? It's only like 33 minutes. It's a lot of cool music already, so we don't want to give you too much on a Sunday evening. Just to whet your appetite so we can do this again soon. All right, pair up.
Thank you.